Hi, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make this little round building. It is parametric, and the key thing that I want you to notice about it is this white wall has windows and doors, well, one door and several windows in it, and it updates when I drag the plan, and it is a curved wall. So parametrically it will just keep adding these windows all the way around, and it will keep the door there in the center. And I can go down. Oh, now what I want you to do is look over here in this bottom left corner. Here's the wall flattened out, and we're going to build that first. And then here's the wall wrapped around a plan, and this is the main purpose of this tutorial, is to show you how to get windows and doors in a curved or plan deformed wall. So a lot of people seem to think that Archimatix can't do this, and it's really just a matter of how you build your models. But don't go to like I tried a lot of alternatives, including cutting the windows and doors through some sort of Boolean operation after the shape is made, and no, please don't do that. This is really very easy. You can play to the strengths of parametric and spline modeling if you just think a little bit and build the wall flat, where you can control how the windows and door fit in before you deform it to your plan. And this will even go all the way down to a very small, I don't know, what is that, like a little, it's such a small little building, guardhouse. Yeah, I don't even know what you would do with that, but but you see, it doesn't even have any windows. That's how small it is. It's not really even a building at all. And here it is. I guess it's like a little toll booth or a little guard house. And I already showed it to you blown all the way out. And we can actually go inside this building and look around. Oops, here we are hopping through the through the doors. All right, I'm going to start with a new Archimatix model. And since it's pretty clear that I'm going to start this with like a base plan, which is a circle, I'm just going to add a circle, and I'm going to go ahead and put in a shape distributor, because I know that I'm going to have several meshes built off of this one same circular plan. And what I'm going to start with is also my wall, which is just a rectangle. And let me set up a few things here with this rectangle first. It's going to be grounded. That means that yeah, when I build it in like a Z plane, which is, it's not Z is not really a plane, but it's an orientation. I hope you understand what I'm saying. And I'm just going to extrude it. And now if I wanted a different exterior wall than my interior wall, I could use two polygons, one mapped to the inside of the building and one mapped to the outside, but that seems a little overkill, and I want to keep this tutorial going pretty fast. So I'm just going to use an extruder And once again, I'm going to orient this shape to my Z so that it will face the camera. And I don't need it to extrude very deeply, so we'll do like 0.2. And right away, I'm going to set up my first parametric relation, and that is from this circle, from this circle's geometry, I get a reading for the circumference, and that's going to be the width on my rectangle. So as I adjust the radius on this circle, the width of my rectangle is going to always be the circumference. And now that works on this particular, circular shape plan. If I was using a square, I suppose I would use one side of the square, multiply by 4, and that would be my width. We'll discuss this a little more as we go. And for the height of my wall, I'm just going to do 3 meters, maybe a little more, 3.6 meters. And my model is very uninteresting at the moment. So what I'm going to do is, should I set up the deformer right away at the beginning of the tutorial? Sure, why not? We don't have to stick with it. But if you've been watching my last few tutorials, I've been using this deformer a lot. So I'm going to use this mesh, and this is not going to work right away. I'm going to use this mesh routed into this deformer. And once again, I'm going to take this plan, and this time I'm just going to use the distributor version right into the plan. And what happened to my wall? Well, I have kind of no idea. But it has something to do with the way that this wall is constructed, and it needs to be subdivided. So I'm just gonna, straight off the bat, subdivide this straight wall just a bunch of times. I threw in 24. Now, if you want to know how this works, but long story short, it's now wrapping around the circumference of the plan. And if I increase or decrease the radius on this circle, you see that my rectangle is growing in the width to still match the circumference, so everything's working. It's a little chunky, and I don't really have any control over what's happening here. So my plan has 16 segments. My straight wall is being subdivided 24 times, and this is not always clear. So let's just turn on shaded wireframe. Whoops. Shaded wireframe. Here we go. It looks like a little bit of a mess, and also while I'm at it, I'm going to add a material. It's just going to be the Archimatix white material so that we can see the vertex lines. So with the subdivisions, I am kind of defining how many vertices my flat wall is being subdivided into. And let me just going to delete the connection there. And now we're just looking at the flat wall and the subdivisions. So with a lower subdivision, I'm not actually going to count. Let me make my circle a little smaller here. Now, first of all, even when the wall grows and shrinks, I have the same number of subdivisions. So this is not a world space subdivision. This is unique to this wall mesh. And how many times is it subdivided? Here's one, which is like no subdivision, basically. Here is, what do we have? Five subdivisions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get it? Not too deep here, but this will start to mean something in a minute. Let me just go with 4. Now it's subdividing the length. Is it subdividing top to bottom? Not really. Now it is. Now here's what you need to see. Maybe Unity is making a pretty efficient mesh by following this outside. It's subdividing it 24 times. And kind of evening it out, but it knows that there is some more mesh here. This is all gonna like start to look a little different once we start cutting holes in this mesh, but here's the trick that I want you to see. I'm going to take the segments on my circle, and you know what this is? This is how many mesh parts my plan is cut into. I'm going to connect it over here to this subdivisions number. And now I'm going to reconnect the flat wall to my deformer. And we should see a pretty interesting relationship between my original plan's circle, radius, and the segments. Now below a certain level it starts to lose the shape, but above a certain number of segments my wall mesh is adding subdivisions to follow the segments in this circle. Makes sense, right? I hope. In fact, here I can just use this scene tool to jump up my mesh count. And as you see, my circle segments is the same number as the subdivision on the wall. Now I'm going to jump up some obscene number. Let's go with 36. Now what my wall needs is a door. So let's start with a door. Where are we going to get this door shape? You want to use the arch shape, or do you want to use the rounded arch shape? I think I'm going to use the rounded arch. And I'm going to close my shape. my rounded arch. Wait. I'm going to take my big rectangle and I'm going to route it into this shape merger. Let me just clean up my graph. And into the shape merger, I'm going to route my door. And just so I can keep track of everything, I'm going to name this door. And then I'm going to take the difference and route the difference of my merger into my wall. Now, something has gone wrong. Why is that? Probably because, I don't know. I'm guessing, see down here, I don't have a clean cutout between the door and the wall. So where my door enters the shape merger, I'm just gonna make it a little bigger. Not much bigger, just a little bigger by using this offset, maybe 0.1. And if you look at our cutout now, it is, you can't really see it that well on this preview, but it now easily, cleanly overlaps my wall. But I did not break my door mesh. Let's go back and play with our radius. As you can see, my door is now always in the center of this wall, my straight wall. And so it's always in the center of my curved plan. I'm just gonna lift up the top of my rectangle wall. What do I have here? 3.6, I'm gonna go with 4. You see how this is working, right? Looks like I have a little gap right back here in the back. Should I fix it now? Should I force it to overlap? I'm just going to leave it, but I'm pointing it out now because we'll see it more and more. Let's add some windows. I like this little arch shape, so I'm going to just grab another arch. This one's going to be window. And I'm going to route my window into a shape repeater, and it's going to be a linear 2D shape repeater. I need to go ahead and close my shape. How do I do that? And this time I don't want it to be grounded like this. I want it to be floating. So I'm going to take a foot off of the spring height. Spring height is the straightaway before it hits the radius. I'm going to make that, what, 1.5. And I'm going to lift it on the Y transform by 1. Okay, so I didn't lose anything. And now my shape is closed. Wait, is my shape closed now? Now is my shape closed? I can't tell. I'm going to route my windows into my shape merger. Let me close that. And now my windows are smacking all over my door, and there's like no relationship to the width. So what I need here is on my linear repeater for the windows. Let me slide this over. In fact, I'm just going to call this linear repeater. I'm going to call this window repeater. And I'm going to open up the little repeater tool. Basically, I want to add a relationship between my original plan and my window repeater. So where is my circumference? I'm just going to add that to size. Now, does it know what it's doing? I'm going to change the radius here. Now, I don't want this many windows. But look, it's doing something kind of interesting. It's cutting a window at the edge of my rectangle. So this is actually two windows that are pushed together, and it's kind of hiding that transition, but that's a little advanced. So what I'm going to do is create a little more spacing between these windows for starters. And I'm not too sure about this door. I'm going to create even more spacing. I'm going to go with 5. Alright, let me go back, because this setting, this relation is feeding back into my circumference, which is feeding back into my radius. So let me drop this radius here. Now I think you can see, let me just turn off my wireframe just for the moment. Now, no matter what the radius is of my plan, my windows come right up to the doors. Whoops, there they cut into the doors. Okay. So there are some settings. I might want to set a minimum on my Windows control. You want to play around with it. I do like how my back window lines up. I think that's interesting, so I'm going to go with that for the moment. Let me put back in the shaded wireframe. I'll tell you what I do. I am going to make my window a little thinner. How's that? So the radius on my window will be 0.5. I like it. I'm going to give this floor and a ceiling, and that's just going to be, what's that going to be? And what I did before was I took a little stair step and ran it through a plan sweep. So that's probably what I'll do again this time. Just the empty stair shape into a plan sweep. Yep, and I want it to be the section on that plan. Total height's just going to be 1 meter. And my plan is going to be not the circle, but the shape distributor. Okay, I do have steps, but they're inside the house. So I need to adjust my step plan. You see that little white plus? That white plus is the 0. So I'm going to transform my shape on the x-axis. See, here comes my stairs. That's given my little house a little platform, although my stairs seem kind of big, so I think run is that setting. I'm going to reduce the run. Oops, and I should have waited on my transform. That's fine. Now, I could keep this parametric and, you know, the stairs, but this is just a little base for my model. This is not the most important part of the model. My steps in total have a riser. Sorry, not a riser. Riser is the individual steps. Tread is the individual steps. Height is the total height, and run is the total run. So I'm just going to take this height, which I know is 1. I'm not going to make this parametric because it will cause just a bit of a headache later. And I'm going to bump up. I'm going to bump up. I'll do it here on the yeah, fine. I'll do it here on my cutout shape. Okay, follow me so far? I'm just going to add another little topper so our building can have a roof. Nothing too fancy, or yeah, actually, let's get fancy. I'll do, I think it's this one, Seama Recta. I'll throw it in another plan sweep. I'll connect it first. And I want it as the section. Plan is, of course, my shape distributor. Now, where are you? You're down under buried. So here's my 0 again on this shape. Tell you what, I am going to connect my original rectangle's height. This is the not cut out rectangle. And this is going to be the translation Y of my little roof shape. I'm going to come back over here and give it a little wiggle. Okay, something I don't quite like about that. Let's see what's going on. Why do I see the top of the roof? Now, if I were to remove the top and bottom cap. Interesting. Why not? I'll just leave it as that, since we're just playing around. Let me go back to regular shaded mode. You know what? I feel like I had built this, and you watched me build it. So it's probably time for you to go build this yourself and play around, but it will just show you a couple of things. Now, because I parametrically related, that's what these attached cables are. Since I related the height of my wall to this little crowning piece, I can flow this up and down as desired. It can even be all the way down. It can be lower than it should be, but let's not. And of course, the original design was to be able to control this this radius. I don't know. I think this building is actually almost cuter than my other building. Now look, I see a few flashes where my model's seam is in the back. So, and this will actually be a problem the smaller the model gets because of the way it deforms. You see that line? That's where my straight wall bends around and joins up. So this is an easy fix. As we know, this is coming from the circumference to the width of the rectangle. So this is my relation. I'm just going to add a little math so that this overlaps. Plus 0.1 and plus 0.1. So what does that do? That just, oops, no, I don't want to do it backwards. This would be minus 0.1. Now, pretty sure, yeah. Now, I didn't actually make it seamless. What I did was make it overlap. But it looks seamless. In fact, it looks pretty cool, right? I like it. I even like that it's open from the top. I don't know. That's like a weird game thing. But, yeah, you should put a real roof on it if you want. Maybe the only thing left to do is to set up some shaders. I mean, some materials. And so let me just add a material node. I will connect it to my a little roof ring. I guess it's a roof trim into the material. And now I can just add I think that's the one that I was using before. Looks a little, yeah, I'm gonna just alter the UV scale so that the boards sorta make a little more sense with that scale. Let's give the wall a better texture. What did I use before? Maybe that one. Yeah, I guess so. All right, kids. I think you get the idea. The last thing that you want to do is go back to the linear repeater that's controlling the windows. And you want to play around with that repeater tool. Yeah, I like it. I think I actually like it better than my starter, than my little starter model. All right, that's it. I'm going to cut this short. Hopefully you learned something. Go ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you want to be notified, hit the bell. And there will only be Archimatix tutorials on this channel, so you won't be getting any spam. You'll just be notified when the next tutorial goes live. And yeah, keep creating. You know, if you think something can't be done in Archimatix, you know, use some imagination. Think how you can work around the problem, because the solution you arrive at might be more interesting than the original idea that you had. And before we go out, I'm just going to show you that. Looks like I need to refine my repeater a little bit so that I don't get windows cutting through my doors. But like I said, I'll let you play around with that and decide how you want to adjust everything. All right, I'll see you next time. Happy creating.